What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of Merry Chat and Merry Chat Live. This is for my Twitch viewers out there and also my YouTube viewers out there that are watching this on Merry and J08. What is up, everybody? We got some news to discuss about the Big N, about Nintendo. Something very interesting that I came across. I was talking about this on my audio podcast. You definitely want to check my new show, The Pixel Corner, that is now live on multiple platforms. I am now on Apple Podcasts. I am on Spotify. I am on Google. I am on Breaker. And I am on Stitcher, with more to follow. So check out my audio-only podcast, The Pixel Corner. Lots of episodes in the works. The first episode and trailer is out now. You want to check that out. Subscribe. Give me a couple stars there. Rate the podcast. Let me know what you think. And leave audio messages, and your voice may be heard worldwide on a future podcast, and I will answer you live on the podcast. So let's get right into it. Again, I talked about this on my other show. I'm going to talk about this here on Merry Chat. I'm going to go and read these tweets to you. This is from now this is from Nintendo's LTD Japanese account. A news report on September 30th falsely claims that Nintendo is supplying tools to drive game developers for a Nintendo Switch with 4K support to ensure correct understanding among our investors and customers. We want to clarify that this report is not true. We also want to restate that, as we announced in July, we have no plans for any new model other than the Nintendo Switch OLED, OLED, which will launch on October 8th, 2021. Tweet 2 of 2. So, that is in reference to a Bloomberg report. A Bloomberg article that I'm going to actually read you some of the article now. And that article states, developers are making games for a Nintendo 4K console that doesn't exist. At least 11 companies, including Zynga, remember them? They made those goofy Facebook games like Farmville. Have tools from Nintendo to make 4K Switch games. Many people were surprised to learn that Nintendo's new video game console is missing a common feature of rival systems: support for high-fidelity 4K graphics. Perhaps more perplexed were the numerous developers who were working on 4K games using a software toolkit provided by Nintendo. Employees at 11 gaming companies said their teams were in possession of Nintendo's 4K development kit for the Switch. The companies span the globe, ranging from large publishers to small studios, and include at least one that has never made a console game before, Zynga Incorporated. According to the employees, who asked not to be identified because they weren't authorized to discuss their projects publicly, the latest model of the best-selling Nintendo Switch is set to go on sale October 8th. It will support a larger screen than the current version, use OLED technology for better colors and contrast, at $350, cost more than its predecessors. But a system capable of handling 4K games isn't expected to be released until late next year at the earliest. People familiar with the plan said that leaves Nintendo at a technical disadvantage to rivals. I don't think they care about that. Whose shares have soared this year while Nintendo's have lost 20%. It also risks alienating developers who have spent months tailoring their games to take advantage of upgraded hardware capabilities. Nintendo responded to a list of questions by saying Bloomberg's reporting is inaccurate and declined to specify which parts of the information it was referring to. In a tweet after the story's publication, the company refuted its supplying tools to drive 4K game development and reinstated it has, quote unquote, no plans for any new Switch model besides the OLED variant. All right, so I'm going to discuss what I discussed on my audio podcast on the Pixel Corner. So, people have been obsessed with the Switch Pro since the start of the Switch, right? The actual Switch itself. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and you really can't blame people, right? And it has to do with the Nintendo's background. It has to do with variants of their previous consoles and what they've been known to do. And if you're following that track record, it's almost inevitable of what's to come next. Another thing is that Nintendo isn't obviously going to spill the beans about something in the future that's in the works, because that would stop people from buying the OLED, the OLED Switch that's about to drop. They want as many sales as they can for that. They're not going to say, well, we have this coming in 2022, so don't buy this now. That's not going to happen. They're going to try to tell you, yeah, this is it. This is what's happened. This is what's being sold. And that's it. Nope, we're never making a console again. So they're going to try to sell as many OLEDs as they can. And then say, oh, by the way, this is coming out. Thanks for the purchase. I mean, Bloomberg has its records themselves for being inaccurate, but they've also had their records of being accurate. They claim that they predicted the OLED. They claim that they've been correct numerous times before. So it's kind of like a guessing game for the consumer, but I could tell you this. Another Switch or another console is 100% going to happen. Whether it's called the Switch 2 or the Switch whatever, the Switch XL, the Switch 4K, the Switch Pro, the Switch 1.5, whatever. I mean, there's eventually going to be a Switch 2, so they could just jump to that and make the improvements of the Switch Pro to the Switch 2. But again, I think the obsession is, people have been asking me, Sean, what do you think the obsession is with the Switch Pro? Again, their track record. Let's take a look. Let's take a history lesson. You got the Game Boy, the Game Boy Pocket, the Game Boy Color, the 2DS, the 2DS XL, the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the 2DS. See what I mean? All the variants, all the different, all the different variations of all their previous handhelds. The Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Advance XL, the Game Boy Advanced different colors, the Game Boy Advance with this and that, and the SP, the Game Boy SP, the flip screen. There's so many variations, and yeah, they have the Nintendo, the original Switch. They have the Lite, right? That has the Joy-Cons built in, all in one. And then this would be the third iteration of the Switch, the OLED. So it could go either way, following their track record. They definitely could make another Switch or just jump to the Switch 2. But technically, what is the Switch 2, right? I mean, it's going to be a bumped up Switch. And really, if you think about it, what is the PS5 to the PS4? Just a bumped up machine, right? I mean, you start putting numbers in front of things. That's why, I come from a PC gaming background. We didn't have numbers when we rebuilt our PC, or when we added a new graphics card, or when we added memory to our PC. It just became a bigger, more powerful PC. I think that's a lot of people get caught up on the name, on the naming system. And it's definitely going to be another powerful Switch. I mean, a better graphics card is definitely needed and in the works. I know they did that with the 3DS, the new 3DS, I know there's certain games that you can only play on that latest 3DS model. Like the later games that came out for the 3DS, that the earlier 3DS models won't play. So who knows? Hey, B Wolf, we got B Wolf in the chat. What's going on, B Wolf? How are you? How you been? Yeah, the Switch Witch, the Halloween edition. Yeah. Yup. But yeah, I mean, you got to go back to history. You got to go back to the track record of Nintendo. And they're in it to make money. So sure, Bloomberg might be onto something. And again, of course, they're gonna try to debunk everything that they can, because they don't want you holding off waiting. They're not gonna say, "Hey, listen, everybody, don't buy our new product coming out in a few days. Wait till next year." They're not gonna say that. So, listen, guys, I think of it this way. Either way, it definitely earned its money well spent. It's like, how many hours of the original Switch since launch did I put in? So if I have to upgrade it to a new, version of it, what am I going to get? Another couple thousand hours out of that? And now GameStop is doing a really good deal. I think they're doing a trade-in where if you bring your original Switch to GameStop, they give you up to, I guess according to the condition of your Switch, up to $200. So that leaves you with $150 towards a new Switch. I think that's a fair deal. I think that's a pretty decent deal. I think if you've had the original Switch since launch and you've put in how many hours into that thing, and you're going to upgrade it for $150, I don't think that's a bad deal. I don't think that's a bad deal at all. And if you think that the Switch whatever is really close in the horizon of 2022, then maybe just hold off. It's up to you. I'm thinking if you just recently bought one of the new lights, maybe hold off. But if you don't have a Switch at all, then it's an obvious no-brainer. Go for the OLED. And if you have an old launch release original, and you think it's earned its keep and you're ready to upgrade, I think it's a decent upgrade, especially with that GameStop offer. If you get the whole 200, I was talking to a guy on the phone today over there, and he said that I think you just have to bring in the console itself. I don't think you have to bring the the dock or anything, but I got to reread the paperwork. But see, the thing is you have to transfer your saves over. I'm talking about the internal memory. I'm not talking about what's on the SD card, because the SD card you can just take out and put in the new one. I'm talking about the internal memory. You have to swap that out before you put it into the new Switch. And if you have Nintendo Online, that will save your game saves in the cloud. So that's good. We'll see. So we'll see. We'll dig deeper into the Switch OLED when that comes out. We'll go into the details and we'll see how that runs, and we'll compare it to the original Switch. And we'll follow up with this story. But I thought that was interesting, without naming names, how their LTD Japanese account brought this up on their Twitter account, talking about that Bloomberg article. That must have really shook them up, where they wanted to bring it to people's attention, because they're like, whoa, make sure you buy our new OLED system when it comes out. Don't be waiting, because they want to make money. They want to try to sell as many systems of that as they can, and they thought Bloomberg was gonna put a block on that, so they wanted to address it. Interesting. And they're like, to our stocks and shareholders. That's like messing with their bread and butter right there. We'll see. But that's all the technical business side of things. Gamers, they don't care about that. They just want to play games. They don't care. You know what I mean? New system, looks nice and shiny. Hey, listen, the holidays are coming. Kids are going to want to put that. Guaranteed kids are going to have this on their Christmas list. The techie dads are going to have it on their Christmas list. It's a cool item. If you play, I could say this, if you play a lot of Nintendo handheld, it's definitely worth it. If you play a lot docked, it's not going to make any difference at all. But if you play a lot handheld, it's definitely going to look a lot better. It's going to be nicer screen. It's going to be bigger, and it's going to look nicer. So I would say that if you're more of a handheld player, it's worth the upgrade. It's definitely worth the upgrade. I want to just plug my other show real quick. Those of you that don't know, I have an audio-only podcast. Again, it's called The Pixel Corner. I'm now on Apple Podcasts. I'm on Spotify. I'm on a place called Breaker, Stitcher, and Google Podcasts. It's an audio-only podcast. You can listen when you're in the car, when you're jogging, when you're at home. Amazon, Echo Dots, and Echo Shows play it. You can get it from your smartphone. You can get it from your computer, your tablet. Episode 1 is out now. Episode 2 is coming out very soon. And I will be having special guest interviews on there. Also, there is a link provided where you can leave voice messages that I'll actually get, and I'll play your voice message live in the episode and answer you back. So you definitely want to check that out. That's the Pixel Corner podcast on everywhere where you pretty much get your podcasts, including Spotify and Apple. Take care, guys. Until the next Merry Chat, Merry out. Be well, be safe. Take care, everyone.